In the heart of the ancient world, atop a sacred hill overlooking the Aegean, stood Athens, the city where human thought would forever change. Its marble temples caught the golden light of each dawn like torches lit for eternity. Into this world of grandeur and ideas, a child was born. His mother named him Aristocles. History would call him Plato, the broad-shouldered one. He entered the world in 428 BCE, as Athens trembled between glory and war. His bloodline was no ordinary one. Descended from Solon, the great lawgiver of Athens, Plato grew up in halls lined with the marble faces of statesmen and philosophers. Greatness was not merely his ambition, it was his inheritance. As a youth, he was a man of two passions, the body and the mind. He wrestled with the strength of an athlete and wrote poetry with the soul of a dreamer, sitting beneath silver olive trees, the Acropolis watching over him like a silent teacher. Legend tells that before Plato ever arrived at his door, Socrates dreamed of a young swan landing upon his chest, a bird that rose and flew into the heavens singing. When Plato came to him the next morning, Socrates knew. This is the swan. In the Agora of Athens, among merchants and orators, a barefoot old man with wild eyes and a weathered face stopped a young nobleman in his tracks. Socrates asked one question, and in that moment, Plato's former life dissolved like mist. For nearly a decade, Plato sat at the feet of Socrates, learning not facts but how to question. The dialectic, that restless, relentless conversation with truth, became the forge in which Plato's mind was hammered into steel. But Athens grew afraid of the man who questioned everything. In 399 BCE, Socrates stood before 500 jurors, calm as stone, charged with corrupting the youth and dishonouring the gods. He made no apology. He never flinched. In a cold stone cell, surrounded by weeping disciples, Socrates raised the cup of hemlock to his lips. Plato watched from the shadows, pale, silent, shattered. The greatest mind he had ever known drank calmly, lay down, and was still. Alone on the hillside above Athens, Plato burned the poetry he had once loved. Something in him had died with Socrates, and something far larger had awakened. He would not mourn forever. He would build. He sailed from Athens and wandered for 12 years. In Egypt, he sat with priests who guarded knowledge older than Greece itself. In southern Italy, he studied with the Pythagoreans, men who believed the universe was written in numbers. In Sicily, he clashed with tyrants and barely escaped with his life, fleeing under moonlight to a waiting ship. He returned to Athens transformed. In an olive grove outside the city walls, he founded the Academy, the first institution of higher learning in the Western world. For 40 years, the greatest minds of the ancient world gathered there to think, to argue, to seek. Above its entrance, carved in white marble, were words that still echo, "Let no one ignorant of geometry enter here." Truth, Plato believed, demands discipline of mind. Among his students came a sharp-eyed young man from Macedonia, Aristotle. He sat slightly forward, always writing, always questioning, the stylus never resting. Plato called him the mind of the school. They were alike in brilliance, and opposite in everything else. Through his dialogues, Plato gave the world its philosophical foundations. He envisioned the Republic, a city ruled not by the powerful, but by the wise. He described the allegory of the cave, that we are all prisoners mistaking shadows for reality, until philosophy drags us into the light. He wrote of the symposium, where love is the soul's longing for its lost wholeness. In the Phaedo, he gave us Socrates at peace with death, certain the soul is immortal. And in his theory of forms, he told us this world is merely a flicker, that somewhere beyond perception, perfect truth, perfect beauty, and perfect goodness exist, eternal and unchanged. Plato died as he had lived, at a feast, in conversation, at peace. He was 80 years old. The candles dimmed one by one. The philosopher Alfred North Whitehead once wrote that all of Western philosophy is but footnotes to Plato. From that single glowing scroll, every library ever built has drawn its light, and still does, to this day. The examined life. The pursuit of truth. The undying flame. Please do subscribe.